Everyone wants instant results, the quick transformation, the overnight success. Reality doesn't work that way. Most people underestimate how long things actually take. They see the final result and assume it happened quickly. They miss the years of invisible work that came before. Starting something new comes with expectations of progress, of visible change, of feedback that confirms the effort is working. But those expectations rarely match the actual timeline required. Results take longer than anticipated. Progress happens slower than hoped. Breakthroughs delay, and that gap between expectation and reality is where most people quit. Not because the work is too hard, because the wait is too long. 3 months in with no major progress feels discouraging. 6 months with minimal results feels defeating. A year with nothing to show for, it feels like failure. So people stop. They abandon the path and look for something faster. But fast rarely equals lasting. Quick wins often disappear just as quickly. Real transformation takes time. Building something solid requires patience that most people don't develop. The issue isn't the timeline itself. The issue is expecting anything meaningful to happen on a convenient schedule. Growth operates on its own clock. Skills develop gradually. Businesses build slowly. Change accumulates over extended periods. Fighting that reality doesn't speed it up. Complaining about it doesn't help. Comparing timelines with others doesn't change anything. The only option is accepting that time is part of the equation and staying committed anyway. Showing up every day when nothing seems to be changing tests commitment. The routine becomes monotonous. The work feels repetitive. Progress remains invisible, and maintaining discipline starts feeling pointless. Working out with no physical changes, creating content with no audience, studying with no immediate improvement, putting in effort with no measurable return. That's when discipline becomes difficult. Because discipline without immediate reward feels empty. It feels like wasted energy, like working for nothing, and the mind starts questioning whether it's worth continuing. But discipline isn't about today's payoff. It's about building capacity for tomorrow's demands. Every act of showing up, regardless of how it feels, reinforces the ability to do hard things when they don't feel rewarding. That internal shift matters more than external results. Learning to follow through on commitments despite feelings. Developing the strength to stay consistent when motivation disappears. Proving that actions don't depend on conditions being perfect. Those qualities compound. They build over time. They create a foundation that supports bigger goals later. But they develop slowly, imperceptibly, in ways that can't be measured day to day. Most people need visible progress to stay motivated. They need confirmation that the work is working. They need regular feedback that they're moving in the right direction. Without it, they lose momentum. But real progress often happens beneath the surface. Changes accumulate before they become visible. Skills develop before they feel natural. Strength builds before it shows. And trusting that process when evidence is lacking separates those who make it from those who quit. Watching others achieve results faster creates doubt. Seeing someone start later but progress quicker raises questions. Observing people succeed with seemingly less effort triggers insecurity. Social media amplifies this. Constant exposure to other people's wins, highlight reels of success with no context, finished products with no backstory. It creates an illusion that everyone else is moving faster and achieving more. But that comparison is flawed. It measures someone else's visible results against personal invisible struggles. It ignores different starting points, advantages, obstacles, and circumstances. It assumes everyone's on the same timeline when timelines vary drastically. Some people get early wins, some grind for years before anything clicks, some have resources that accelerate progress, some face challenges that slow everything down. None of that is visible from the outside. Comparing progress with others derails focus. It shifts attention from personal work to external validation. It breeds impatience when timelines don't match. It creates unnecessary pressure to speed up a process that can't be rushed. The only relevant comparison is against previous versions of self. Am I further than I was last month? Have I developed skills I didn't have last year? Am I more consistent than I was when I started? Those are the only measurements that matter. Everything else is noise, distracting noise that serves no productive purpose. It doesn't motivate, it doesn't inform, it just generates anxiety and impatience. Focus stays on the work, on daily execution, on incremental improvement, on staying disciplined regardless of what anyone else is doing. That's controllable, that's measurable, that's what actually creates results over time. Patience isn't passive waiting, it's active commitment to a process that hasn't paid off yet. It's choosing to stay the course when changing directions seems more appealing. It's trusting that consistency matters more than speed. Developing real patience builds character that success alone never could. Mental toughness comes from staying consistent through invisible progress. Humility develops from watching others win while still grinding. Resilience forms through continued effort despite setbacks. Those qualities outlast any individual achievement. They transfer to new challenges. They compound across different areas of life. They create capacity to handle bigger obstacles and opportunities. Success is temporary. The goal gets achieved or it doesn't. But character built through the process of working toward it becomes permanent. That's the real transformation, not the external result. The internal development that happens during the journey. And there's an ironic truth here. Developing patience actually accelerates results, not because time moves faster, but because staying committed long enough allows the compound effect to work. Most people never give anything enough time to actually produce significant results. They try something for a few months, see minimal progress, and switch to something else, then repeat that pattern indefinitely. Years pass, but nothing compounds because nothing gets sustained long enough. Real results come from picking a direction and maintaining it. Through boring phases, through slow progress, through moments when nothing seems to be working. That sustained effort is where compound growth lives. But it requires patience most people never develop. The mindset shifts from how fast can this happen to how long can this be sustained? From needing quick validation to trusting long-term consistency. From measuring days to measuring years. Short-term thinking dominates most decision-making. Quick wins over sustainable growth. Immediate results over delayed rewards. Fast validation over patient building. That approach creates fragile success. All speed, no foundation. All tactics, no strategy. All hustle, no endurance. Things grow quickly but collapse just as fast because nothing was built to last. Long-term thinking operates differently, making decisions today that won't pay off for years, doing work that doesn't make sense in the short term but compounds in the long term, sacrificing immediate gratification for future freedom. That's harder. There's no quick feedback, no instant validation, no regular proof that the approach is working, just faith in principles that play out over extended timelines. But this approach creates something different, real freedom, not temporary wins that disappear, sustainable success built on solid foundations, results that last because they were built properly. It creates genuine expertise, not surface level competence, but deep skill that only comes from years of focused practice. The kind of mastery that can't be faked or shortcut. It builds respect. The difference between someone who's been at something for months versus years is obvious. Between someone chasing trends versus someone committed to a craft. Between flash and substance. Long-term thinking is lonely. Most people aren't willing to delay gratification that long. They want shortcuts, hacks, ways to skip the years and jump to the results. So they chase quick fixes while criticizing those who grind patiently. But shortcuts don't exist for anything worth having. The work takes time. The results take longer. And accepting that reality separates builders from pretenders. Discipline and patience are long-term investments. They don't pay off this week or this month, but they pay massive dividends over years and decades. That's the game worth playing. Success has nothing to do with talent, little to do with luck, almost nothing to do with special advantages. It has everything to do with patience and discipline. Showing up consistently over long periods, trusting the process when results aren't visible, staying committed when motivation fades. That's not glamorous. It doesn't make good content and won't go viral, but it's the truth. The people who succeed aren't the most talented, they're the most patient, the ones who stayed disciplined when others got distracted, the ones who played the long game while everyone else chased quick wins. Years passed, the work continues, progress accumulates invisibly, then suddenly it becomes visible, and people call it an overnight success. But it wasn't overnight. It was years of unremarkable days that nobody saw. That's the real story behind every significant achievement. Not the breakthrough moment, the thousands of hours that led to it. Not the celebration, the discipline that made it possible. Being in the middle right now means being exactly where the work happens, where character develops, where patience gets tested, where discipline gets proven. The results will come, not on a preferred timeline, but they'll come. And when they do, the wait will make sense. The discipline will pay off. The patience will prove worth it. But only if the commitment continues. Only if the work doesn't stop. Only if the long game gets played all the way through. That's the requirement. Stay disciplined. Be patient. Play the long game. Not because it's easy, because it's the only way to build something real.